So one of the things that we now know about this, looking back, was that these maps were reflective of racialized understandings of place, and so African Americans were consigned largely to the red neighborhoods. And so Mount Pleasant actually was an early African American enclave that was outside the bigger area of Cedar Central, which is the largest area of black settlement in Cleveland for many years. Mount Pleasant was an outlying area. It was somewhat better off in terms of conditions, but the appraisers of land value and the future of land value were drew concern from the presence of African Americans. And so the idea was that racial transition automatically brought decline to property values. That was a commonly held assumption that kept, I think it was commonly held, it was an assumption that just kept perpetuating itself because it took a while for it really to be successfully challenged. So Buckeye was sort of seen as in the path of what was going to be an inevitable transition, and that this particular group of people that was appraising the value thought was negative, and therefore they called it definitely declining. Even though we know that the population in Buckeye did not really start to fall until decades later. The population held strong, and it was a very solidly built and populated neighborhood long after 1939. But they were already seeing a problem in their minds. We can get this a little in a different way if we look at the Howard Whipple Green, who was a demographer, maps from a couple of different periods. In 1950, and of course they were using the word Negro in 1950. Here's Cedar Central. Here's the area we're in, right around here. Here is Mount Pleasant. Here's Glenville. This is Cleveland Heights to get your bearings. And you can see that the railroad is something of a racial boundary. So, you've heard of the other side of the tracks. To some great degree, into 1950, the railroad, the New York Central Railroad, was a racial border. But we know these borders moved. I mean, this is a constantly shifting sense of place that was framed somewhat by actual infrastructure, such as railroads. Later, interstate highways would sometimes serve this function of dividing neighborhoods and people's perceptions of them one way or the other. But here you can clearly see the railroad is a big deal with that.